So, um, this will be my second version of this video, which I made in advance because December the 6th, which is now tomorrow, is the anniversary of my very first post that I started last year. Um, I had a post before that, but this was definitely an entire resurrection of this channel, and I have been posting consistently for a year, basically about the same topic, which is about essentially the gospel. And when I left my first video, that was the goal to tell people about, what I felt like people needed to know, which is that Jesus was coming soon, and they needed to be saved, and how they needed to be saved, and all that. And in that video, I said that I was going to keep trying because I feel like I just have not said all that needs to be said. And it's funny because a few videos back, I even said, like, you know what, I feel like every time I talk, it's like, it just feels like the more I talk, the more further away, like I don't feel like I can get to the end. I think that part of that is because you can't really exhaust God and the things of God in this topic. But I did kind of feel like this thing is a treadmill. I don't think, if I have said it already, if I could have said it, I have said it already. And I still sort of feel that way, but, I know the anniversary is coming up, and, I've just been posting whenever I feel led to do so. And this is one of those times. So I made a previous one and I watched it back, and it's just way rambly and long, and it's fine. But I was feeling like if I can do better, I'm going to do better. So I made myself a little outline, got my thoughts together, what I was going to say. And I'm going to try and start over and at least, chop that thing in half for y'all. Because, even if you put it on like 1.5 speed, which you might have to do just to get through it, it's still pretty like rambly, and it's just hard when you think you've got a topic that you need to talk about, and it's like multi-layered, and so you're like, okay, wait, let me go back. So anyways, so here we go. I'm going to start with my first point, which is that humans are basically good and basically evil. See, you thought I was going to just let you have that one. Yeah. Humans are both good and evil. And here's the thing. If you are a Christian, if you're not a Christian, let's start there. If you're not a Christian, and you hear this statement, humans are basically good, and you agree with that, and you probably think that it's weird that anyone would disagree with that, because we understand what you mean when you say that. Christians understand what you mean when you say that. We all know that basically good feeling. We do. You intrinsically want good things. You respond to good things on some level. Good things make you do well in life. They go on to enrich your life. And we might argue about what package good comes in, and that's where you can get a lot of deception and all of that stuff. But we'll leave that for now. We'll just concede on the idea of the basic goodness. And what you're describing is, you come into the world, you're a baby, you're pure. You want your family to be around you. You want to please them. You want to do good things. You want to laugh. You love beauty and the earth and nature and, rest and all of these things that up to now we haven't really questioned. We're getting close to starting to question the basics, but, a lot of the stuff that society relies on us all understanding, wanting to, lying is being bad and all of this stuff, wanting to make other people happy within reason, wanting to obey the laws of society within reason, flourishing, human flourishing, the pursuit of happiness. We're not pursuing misery, right? All of these basic things that make us go, oh, well, we basically want the best for everybody. And, nobody's out looking for this, that, blah, 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 right? Okay, yeah, we all kind of agree on that. But when you look at the nature of that and the reason why that is, I don't know if anybody even spends a lot of time on questioning this or thinking about why that is, but the reason why that is because you're made in the image of God, and God made you, and he holds the patent to you. And so even if you find yourself trying to go outside of this design, the way that he's designed you to be, you find yourself hating it, or at the very least, having to try to get used to it, having to sort of go against this grain that naturally exists, and yeah, that all of that is true, and that is because we're God's design, and He is also has all of these traits, these good traits, and once there's things that again, there's all of these things that people can argue and can say are subjective, but there's a lot of things that still are around that people aren't even questioning. The fact that we need to eat food and we can't eat anything other than food. We can't evolve to eat cardboard. We can't get any nutrients out of, the rug on the floor. We still have to eat the things that grow out of the earth. And even though there's things like we can't eat waste products, we can't eat our own waste products. It's repulsive to us. Our body rejects it. We reject it mentally, we reject it physically, spiritually. There's something wrong with doing that. And there's really nothing anyone can say to, yet to make us think that, eating poop is going to be is a revolutionary act or something like that, right? So, we've got very obvious examples of that. Well, but yeah, that is one side of us. That is true. But we do have an evil nature. And this is what Christians and, Judaism also believes this, because this is Old Testament stuff, that sin entered the world. And we talked about the Garden of Eden before, which is a story that oddly a lot of people know still, even if they don't know the Bible, even if they don't know Noah and some of these other stories, they still manage to know this one, thank goodness. Although I don't know if it's more of a stumbling block or less of one to have this like iconic story, because, most people just kind of treat it silly. And, even some Christians don't take it as literal. Does it matter? Sort of, because it did happen. I mean, it's fine. Like a lot of these things, like, I don't know, I feel like of all of the stories, of all of the religious stories of explaining the world, or even just any mythological story of explaining the world, this one is the most straightforward and the most sounds like humankind as we know it today. God created some people. There's a God. He was a creator. He created some people. They were here. We was having fun. And we just, we lived and moved, and there was no point to it other than just us being created. That's what it was, and that's what he did. And that in and of itself mirrors what we're now living. And then one day, sin was able to enter the world. And it's entered the world through our disobedience and through this partaking of the knowledge of good and evil. Okay? Now we have this evil side to us. It is not quite like the good side to us. It behaves differently. Um, it is a little bit more sneakier. It kind of sneaks up on you. It's a little more instinctive in terms of, we have to be raised and reared by parents who will teach us the right ways, and we sort of have to navigate having both sides to us. The bad side needs no nurturing to exist. You can nurture it, and when you do, the results are terrible for the world. But you don't need to go to lying school. You don't need to go to stealing school or whatever your inclination of bad is. Being prideful, being arrogant, um, causing factions and splits and racism and prejudice and all of these things that literally no one has to teach you to do. It doesn't really, it's usually not edifying. It might seem edifying for a while. And these are all things that hopefully you learn in your childhood, where you have this other path you can go down. And then you try that path and you go, ooh, this is making me feel all of these negative feelings. It's making the good part of me not be comfortable. So these two things can't really work in tandem. One can't really feed the other. And you learn that you've got these two sides to you and how to manage, how to not give in to every negative thing that you have, just to say bad things about yourself, to be depressed, to treat other people who are less fortunate than you poorly, or to be selfish and take the thing that you want and hold grudges, and all of these little minute things that you're dealing with every day as a person on the earth. Um, you know, we just kind of go, oh well, but basically overall, we're pretty good. We're pretty good. It's like, okay, but how do you account for that other part? Where does that even come from? How does that even, it's like, which worldview is actually tackling this thing that you're calling just regular life? Like, oh, well, that's just what it is. That's just how it is. You don't even have a grid for, like, you can't even get meta about that. So, yeah, that remains the linchpin on the Bible, and why it continues to have the authority that it has. It's because everybody else got nothing on this other stuff. You might hear some yin yang this or that, but it really doesn't answer the question, which is why people like it, because you don't want the question answered. You just want somebody to be like, yes, we're aware of the problem, and here's a nice poem about it. And you go, oh, I like this. Yeah. It's just something to be aware of. And, it's just like, okay. So, yes, you are good and evil. And the Bible is really geared toward helping you understand the depths of what sin and evil has done to creation, because it used to be perfect. And it is inherently perfect, but something came and made it imperfect. It teaches you that death was never supposed to enter the world. It teaches you that war and all of these things, pain during childbirth, whatever. Man having to work the ground until he dies is a curse. It was not supposed to be that hard. All of these things that it is telling you about. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a rule book, right, wrong, blah, blah, blah. The reason why that is, why there's a law book, is so that you can see what the law is and see how hard it is to meet it. Not because, like, God's going to give you an impossible thing to do. Again, it's not just for you to obsess over what you're not able to do, or to see how hard it is. It's so that you can see how sin has impacted the world. Because in a sinless world, there is no law. I don't know if you've ever thought about that. But in a sinless world, there are no rules because you can't break the rules. So why would there be rules? It says in the New Testament about the fruit of the Spirit, which I feel like I talked about because it blows my mind every time I hear it, that, there's the works of the flesh, which is some of the stuff that we talked about. And then there is the fruit of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. I think that's all 9 of them that are mentioned. And then it says, against these, there is no law. So there's no fruit of the Spirit. Like, you can do the fruit of the Spirit in excessive, just forever, because there's no law against them. There's no law against gentleness. There's no law against faithfulness. There's no law against patience, joy, peace. These can be practiced